to another lawn mowing live stream. Back at it again. It is Thursday, August 28th, and I'm going to just get right into it. Get into the first lawn. Let me switch the camera around. Pop that up on the holder. It's a overcast day, so this will be interesting to see if the stream works. It was giving me full cell signal so far, but in the past, on days that are overcast, is usually when there's streaming issues. So we'll see if it works out. Let me know in the chat. You can see it's kind of cloudy and overcast. It's supposed to be really muggy today. Yesterday was a sunny, really sunny day. It was a scorcher yesterday. So although it's cloudy today, they're saying that not to expect any relief in terms of heat. That it's just going to kind of get trapped, greenhouse effect, as the day goes on. And actually feel warmer than it was yesterday. So that'll be fine. So let me know if there's any issues with the stream, in the comments, or the chat, I should say. Let me know if the audio is working as well. If you're not too shy. And as usual, I'm doing the trimming. You get the kind of POV kind of shot. It's just easier for me with how much I'm moving around, just doing edging and stuff. But then once we get into the mowing, I'll put it on the tripod to give you guys a more stable shot. So just bear with me. It's a bit wonky. Unfortunately, not really the way I've got it mounted. This is like a neck mount. Obviously, creates a bit of movement, so it's not the most stable shot. These are starting to green up again. We had last week, we had a day where it was just like, I think it was last week, torrential rain. It was like one day and a half or so. It was raining so heavy, it was like a month worth of rain in one day. And that really got ponds to perk back up. Especially here, where a lot of people don't have sprinkler systems. It's in the Pacific Northwest, but there's so much rain normally that there isn't too much of an obsession, I would say, with having really nice lawns and stuff. On average, most people are just, they'll water sometimes and they'll fertilize and aerate some people, but the majority don't do anything. They just mow they don't really, it's not a priority. So you get lawns like this that are, there's lots of clover and maybe a broadleaf weed here and there. People aren't too concerned about it. They just said it's not a priority. And there's an annoying delivery. Like, why would a delivery person just leave a package right there on the step? Like, throw it around the corner at least. It's so annoying when delivery drivers do that. Ooh. Like, take a little bit of extra effort. And, like, look at the difference there. You can't see it, right? Like, as a delivery driver, take a little bit of extra effort. I've got some good delivery drivers in my area that you can see. I'll be sometimes going like, you know, get a notification that a package is delivered or something, and it's like, you know, open the door and it's like, you're expecting to see it at the door, and it's like, where is it? Don't see it, and it's like, oh, they hid it. They hid it around like one of the pillars or something, right? Tucked it behind a plant. It's like, oh, okay, that guy needs a tip. That's just plain lazy. See it like right there on the step, just left there. Like you could tell there, like that delivery driver couldn't be bothered to even step onto the porch, like to go up the stairs. Just kind of leaned over and just left it there. It's like, you know, that's a problem with people today. Nobody seems to care about things. It's different if you're like doing something and you're specifically, you know, told not to do something, or say, for example, like for lawn care, and you give when you're quoting a property, I always quote for like doing edging, curb edging and stuff like that, and it's an extra charge for doing that. Because I know here there's a varied, you know, the customers vary. A lot of people, like I was explaining earlier, that, you know, care less. As long as it's mowed, that's all that matters, right? So give people different options in their original estimates of what they want. And like edging, for example, is one where it's just an extra one-time charge, where if they want it, you know, I will edge that first time, and then I just include it every week. After that, for example, if it's like overgrown edges or something like that, right? And I've had people turn me down, that they don't want it. So then I will, you know, not do the edging or whatever, right? Or like driveway and sidewalk cracks and stuff like that. It's another one that, you know, you'll add an extra charge, but some people will turn you down. They'll say, no, I'll just spray it. You don't have to, you know, go and do the extra work every week. But then they'll never end up spraying it. They'll never end up doing it, right? And it's like, well, I'm not going to go and just do it because they turn you down in your quote. So you're not going to go do it for free. That's a different situation. I only mention that because doing live streams and stuff, some people will point out things like, oh, you didn't do that sidewalk. You didn't do that. And it's like, well, it's because they don't want it done, or they don't want me to do it. That's a different situation. But the delivery driver, knowing what's going on with package theft and all that sort of stuff, the least you could do is put it on. If you're not willing to hide it, at least just put it on the actual doorstep, not right there in the least, the least effort spot for somebody to walk by and just grab it. Like the paper delivery guy seems the same because look, there's a flyer on the lawn here. So how did that happen? Same thing. It's because that newspaper that was there, they just threw it down, and look, it's always been there overnight. Because it was just left right there on the edge, and the wind caught it. So, a bit annoying. People there. I had this one bad delivery driver once, and I happened to be going on vacation, and I was expecting a package, and it didn't show up in time, where I had to leave to go to the airport. And once I was at the airport, I got a security camera notification that somebody had come on the driveway. And the delivery driver literally got out of his car, like pulled up to my driveway, and out of his car, took a few steps, like halfway up my driveway. And my driveway is such that, or my house is such laid out that it's like one of those, a house that has like a garage in the front, but the garage kind of sticks out. So the front door is actually along the side where the garage is. So you got to walk up the driveway and then go around the side to the front door. The delivery driver couldn't be bothered. So he came up halfway up the driveway and threw the package so that it just landed towards the top of the driveway by the garage door, just sitting there. And left, took his photo and left. And I was like, are you kidding me? When you threw the package, you didn't place it down. But it was one of those little, like, private courier companies. So I was like, not surprised. This guy's useless. The cheap carrier alternative. So I actually had to, so I was at the airport already, I had to text my neighbor, and he came and grabbed the package and held it for me until we got back from vacation. I still remember what it was too. It was the Inkbird smart sprinkler controller that I did a review video on. So luckily it still worked. It was in one of those like padded envelopes. It was a thin little box. But it still worked after the guy tossed it. Should have actually included that in my review, how it was delivered. And that it was still working. So this is what I call an on week for me, meaning every lawn gets a mow. Because in the summertime, July, August, things can vary. The beginning of the season until July, everybody's getting weekly mowing. And then July, because of the heat, it can vary. Some lawns will start to drop off, so some lawns will go to, I have a 2 week minimum, every 2 week mow. But I'm even flexible on that sometimes, as long as it's my discretion and not the customer telling me not to come mow it. So this year, July was pretty busy in terms of mowing. A lot of them had a lot of this rain in June. It carried a lot of lawns through, and so it wasn't until actually like August this year that things kind of slowed down. So, and then, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen in terms of come the fall here, but normally we would have, hot sun for 2 months straight. But this year is really, like I said, July and August, but we didn't have like straight shot all the way through. We've had days where it was some sprinkle of rain and stuff in the evenings, and then last week we had that crazy downpour that felt like it was November, and the week before that we had one day of rain, not quite as heavy, but it's just started to really get. Trying to unlock my truck to grab the tripod. So just having those few days of rain has really started, like you can see here, where this one's like brown and dry, but then you have these like lush green areas, right? So it's starting to come back. Which is good. Normally it's September, first week of September, which is next week, that I would go back to mowing weekly for everybody. But there's been some years where you're like, no, it still needs a bi-weekly cut for some lawns. This year I think everybody's going back to weekly mow just because of that rain we had. So let me see if I can put you guys, is there a spot I can put tripod? Maybe up by the house. Here, let me just mow this little section here. When I'm doing live streams, the mowing is the priority. So bear with me. Let's see if we can get some shots to make it a little bit easier to watch. Still using the Milwaukee. Been using it every day since I got it in the business. It's been the main mower since I got it. Currently have been doing an extended test on that, what Milwaukee calls the high lift blade, optional high lift blade. As I've explained in other videos, it's not really a high lift blade, it's more of a performance mulching blade. It hasn't really helped with bagging. In fact, I think I prefer the stock blade. So when I was actually mulching, my lawns were like kind of dry and stuff, and I was doing the 2 week cutting and mulching, then that blade did seem to perform a bit better because it's got the gator kind of teeth on the back edge versus the stock blade that does not have those and has more of a like a medium lift. Just move the camera. So generally this is why I don't move the camera a lot when I'm trying to stream, because it's just too time consuming to do. But we'll try it in this one just to make it a little bit more watchable. Just because there's so many different areas when you're mowing, right? You just want to get the job done. So you might be able to hear the mowers on, it's on the auto mode. So the auto mode basically tries to conserve battery. So it's going to run it at a lower RPM, but then you'll hear the RPM change as it gets into more difficult circumstances. So with a lawn like this as well, what I try to do, and I'm going to be doing that, and I'm doing this a little bit different right now, I'm telling you, just because of the camera being set up, is I usually break this up into chunks, this lawn, doing little sections at a time. But because, and normally I would keep going around that island over there, garden bed, then I'd be out of camera view, so I'm doing it a little bit different today, but still doing it in chunks, just so that I'm in camera view a little bit longer. This section here, then do the next little section after. And I can move the camera to film that section. But yeah, the mower will adjust itself in the auto mode, same as the Exmark Commercial 21V series battery mower does. There's the auto mode or the high. So you can force it into high RPM. So I find that I do that if it's like I know it's going to be tough conditions right from the beginning, like wet grass, for example. Then I will just put it on high right from the beginning. That way it's not surging, so to speak. And I'm probably out of camera view now, so let me move that again. Because it'll, like, if you're in a tough condition, it will search for constantly changing RPM. hits those tougher patches and stuff. So what I'll do is I just keep it in high. If I'm mowing, for example, wet grass. It's going to be out of view for a second as I just go around this one section here. And I'm coming back, so I'm not completely out of the loop there. It's almost time for me to do a long-term review on this Milwaukee for using it. It's been 2 or 3 months since I got it. I don't remember exactly when I got it. I have to look back, but it's usually when I do my long-term reviews. So the 2 to 3 month mark, and then sometimes it'll be 1 year. But probably, we're almost into fall. The starting leaves are already starting to fall. You can see the summer kind of leaf drop. So I'm just gonna wait a little bit until I can get some basically how are we looking in here? Until I can get some experience with the mower. Yeah, about half a bag. Using it for leaf cleanups. Then I will do a long-term review. This little, work our way to the backyard. Try to do this one-handed. Nice thing is this mower's so light that makes it see the handle. Wow, grass really has exploded here in 1 week. Sorry if the camera's moving. I'm just holding the tripod there. Let me see if I can find a spot there. Yeah, that should be good. Might be some hidden spots, but overall, a preview of a long-term review for this mower would be that there's lots of things I like about it. The only real kind of negatives with this mower, see here that RPM kind of moving here. The only real negative I would say is that it really needs a high lift blade, like a blade that is designed for those of us who need to use this mower for bagging. Now, this mower is probably for like 90 or 80% of areas. And depending on what you're using it for, if you're a homeowner of this Milwaukee mower, then you're going to be very well served. It's a great mower, very comfortable, probably the most comfortable mower to use that I've ever used. With it being so lightweight, plenty of ergonomic options with the handle adjustments, all that sort of stuff. And being a homeowner, you are going to be mowing only in good weather. You're not going to mow when it's wet and rainy and stuff like that. You're going to wait for your lawn to dry out. So you're not going to experience those issues where this mower kind of is let down. And again, it's not the mower itself. I think it's more it's the blades, right? They really need a true high lift blade for this mower for it to be used throughout any type of condition as a lawn care professional where you have no choice but to mow when lawns might be damp and wet, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. But here's what it is. Ironically, just before I started doing this lawn, I was looking at comments and stuff on my phone from YouTube videos. There's one that came in that was getting upset with me because of my review of the Echo DLM 56-volt lawnmower, where basically I kind of call that mower trash. And the person is clearly somebody who's bought it and likes it, but they're a homeowner. And I'm like, I responded saying, well, you're watching a lawn care business channel, and my reviews are always with that in mind. Can this piece of equipment be used in a lawn care business? Because the guy was saying, well, a lot of things you're complaining about seem to only affect you and blah, blah, blah. And it's, no, it affects anybody who's running a lawn care business, which is what this channel is about. Clearly, to me, felt like somebody who had purchased the mower already and was happy with it. They were watching videos to justify their purchase. And they stumbled upon my video, and I'm like, this thing's a piece of trash. But hey, it is what it is. That's why I call them honest reviews. Because it doesn't matter to me whether a company's sent me the mower or not. I always look at it like, if they send me something and it's garbage, some people will do a fake review because they want that company to still send them stuff. And it's like, well, if they send me garbage, do I want more of that? So it doesn't matter to me if a company stops sending me stuff because they don't like my review. That was a lot of grass just in that backyard. And it's about half. It's a bit damp. Dewy, I guess. No comments or chat yet. Nothing, everybody's too shy, hey? Let's see, let me just do this little section behind the fence here so I can put the camera there and get a better view of the front when I'm doing my stripes there. Passes, I guess. Basically, I mean, all over the section for the camera. And then we'll put you guys in that spot there. And start doing our long passes here. Just feeling I don't have my gloves. Left them in the truck. Might need those to empty at the end. Clear out the bottom of the deck. It's a bit dewy. There's going to be some grass stuck to the bottom. But yeah, that's the only real kind of downside to this mower. I think it's a really good value. It's not perfect. It doesn't, it's not the best cut quality of mowers I've used. Again, I think that comes down to the blade. For me, a high lift blade is what is always on my mowers. Gives it the most vacuum, stands that grass up so you get a nice clean cut. Of course, with battery mowers, there's kind of, you're always weighing battery life versus, the power. So with a lot of battery mowers, you can get away with weekly cuts on low power and stuff, but sometimes you might not have the best cut quality because you are running the machine at a lower RPM to conserve power. Down to one bar on the battery right now. So you're running it on low power to conserve battery, and that's a lower RPM, so it's not going to suck up the grass. And then you're using it with not a true high lift blade, so that a lot of the cut quality can be attributed to that you're not running it on high power all the time, and the type of blade you're using. So that's why I think the mower itself is not a bad mower. I think the blade would make a big difference for my scenario. A lot of you guys out there who do mulching and stuff like that, then that mulching option, that high performance, the high lift blade that they do have, that they call a high lift blade, would be perfect for you guys, as long as your grass is dry and you run it on the high power mode when you're mulching. So that's the only way to really compare it, apples to apples, to say like a gas-powered mower. Of course, when you're using a gas-powered mower, it's running at the top RPM all the time. So it just really depends on the conditions, how much grass you're cutting and stuff. So generally, if I'm running this on low power mode with the blades, the two blade options, I haven't measured how many lawns this high performance or mulching blade affects the battery, because of it being kind of the summer season right now. As we get back into the regular weekly mowing for everybody, then it's easier for me to do those types of tests, because I can try one blade 1 week on the same houses, and then the next week I'm doing the exact same houses again. So it's easier to swap a blade out and see if I could do more houses or less houses or whatever. But in the summer, because it's slower season, some weeks I'm mixing and matching houses. 1 week it's everybody, the next week it's not. So that's why I don't do equipment reviews like right away. Like a lot of people will just use it for a couple of days and put out a review. I like doing them after machine in all different seasons, all different conditions, with repeated results. We'll be talking about battery life being affected by blades and stuff like that. Because of course battery life does get affected. The mowers will always come with like a 3-in-1, basic blade. That's going to give you your best battery life. And that's what, when you're buying a battery mower, they quote you run times and stuff like that. It's going to be based on that blade. As soon as you put a high lift blade with that big wing on the back of it, that's going to create a lot more air resistance, which is going to make that motor work a bit harder and shorten your battery life. Same with a mulching blade. If you're mulching, having to run it on high power all the time, then it's the same deal. It's going to shorten your battery life, or how many lawns you can do on the same set of batteries. A lot of things you don't have to think about when you're using a gas mower. Of course, because it's always running on high. And if you're just starting out with battery, you got a limited budget. Batteries are the expensive part. So you're trying to start out with you're not going to go out and buy a ton of batteries right away. Usually we'll start out with a set, maybe a backup set, and then add to that if needed. So you're going to be more cautious and run it in the auto mode and stuff to conserve battery. You'll find that works for 90% of the time. Gives you good results. Most days, I only use 2 sets of batteries. This mower uses 2 12 amp hour batteries. That's at least what I run in it. It's 2 12s. Alright, let me put you guys back on the holster. Take the tripod because I'm going to be walking around now. I'm going to have to go grab gloves to check the bottom of the deck. But yeah, generally I use 2 sets of 12s. One set of 12 I can get most of the entire day, depending on what I'm doing. If it's a mix, especially of like push mode jobs or something, and then some like today, where I've got like 7. Let me grab my gloves so I don't get the green hands. Where like today I'm doing like 6 or 7 push mows, and then the rest I go home, grab the navigator, and then go do a bunch of big properties. And that'll take the rest of the afternoon. Don't see my gloves. Where did I put them? Oh, they're over here from when I was starting the stream. I knew I had them. You see, it still bags okay as long as it's relatively dry with these kind of, I call them a high performance mulching blade. You can see the gator teeth there, but it has a wing, like a little bit of a aggressive upturn there, so I guess that's why they're calling it a high lift blade. But it's got those gator teeth, and then it's got, you can kind of see the slight different heights on the cutting edge. So to me, that's a full-on mulching blade. Where like a true high lift blade, that cutting edge would be completely flat on one side, and then you'd have that cutting edge flat on one side, and then that wing side would kind of extend out and up, and it would have no gator teeth on it. So it's a bit of confusion. From other videos I've watched, people using the mower and doing testing with the blade, they all kind of have the same conclusion, that this blade did not improve bagging performance, which is what people expect when you're talking about a high lift blade. That garden hose is in serious need of replacement. It's got tape all over it. It looks like it's been run over by a lawnmower to have that many kind of patches. I see some little sprigs of grass sticking up here. See, and that's a perfect example of why a high lift blade is required for the type of cutting I like to do. Just these blades just don't stand up the lawn. So that might be the thing that, in the end, this might be more of a seasonal mower, where I can use it as long as it's not those tough conditions, like in the fall when it's rainy and wet leaves, or in the spring during the month, until there's a actual high lift blade available for it, a high performance bagging blade. Alright, so this glove's back in my pocket. Just kind of blow off some of these grass clippings. This little Nissan 300Z or 350Z or whatever they're called. See, it's the time of year where we have to start to transition here and start to think about the jogs a little bit more as we get into the fall. It's one of those things with live streaming. It just adds one more layer to what you're doing. That can be a distraction. So that's the thing, is I gotta start to rethink how you do jobs, basically. So what I mean by that is, in the fall, typically what I change up, like as you saw in this, I do my trimming, then I mow, and then I blow. Where in the fall, it will start to change up a little bit, where because the leaves are starting to fall, I add a second blowing, basically. So I do a trim, then I blow, because there's a lot of leaves and stuff on the lawn. Maybe I've got sidewalks and driveways, so I'll blow all that onto the lawn, and then mow to pick it up. So you can start to see some of that happening. Like here, the flower bed has a bunch of leaves. The sidewalk had some leaves and stuff, right? So starting in September, when I go back to weekly mowing, what I typically do is I'll start doing that, start adding the second blowing session in between, trimming and mowing, and then I add the surcharge for fall leaf cleanup. Each mow. So it's one of the things we're gonna have to start doing. Starting next week. It's kind of that transition period with leaf drop from the heat. But we'll soon be, because you can see all the leaves are on the trees are still all green, but as we get into summer, it's going to be a lot more, obviously a lot more leaves falling. The next lawn, that I have to do is only a few blocks away. I don't have to go out into like normal street traffic. It's just in the neighborhood here. There's no cars around and stuff. So typically I wouldn't keep the camera rolling. But for these two, because they're fairly close, well, not super close, it's a few blocks away, but I can stay in the neighborhood to get there. So I'll just keep the camera rolling, and the other one is just a little front yard. So I'll just include it in this live stream. And so let me swap the camera back to the front, back to that ultra wide. We'll start the truck up. Or maybe, I wonder if I can, just give me a second here, see if I can get this. Maybe there's a way to use this tripod somehow in a way that I can, maybe I can just hold it like that, and I can put the tripod so you guys can get a view of the road. And I can just kind of lift that up and support it as I'm driving. The only thing is the sound quality is gonna, as soon as I turn on the truck, it's gonna switch to the truck's Bluetooth. So sound quality is gonna drop, but we'll get back to the mic once we get to the property. Seatbelt on. Still a bit shaky, but I'll do my best to stabilize it. couple of speed bumps. This one has grown pretty well too. One second. Just give me 1 second here. Put the mic back on. Hopefully you guys can hear now. So swap the camera around. Yep, so we're at the next one. There you can see it's pretty green. It's greened up quite a bit. So let's swap it around and get started. And we'll just keep the tripod in the truck for now. Oh, I really need to clean my glasses. Just grab one of these. That's better. Alright. Yeah, it's actually grown quite a bit. You can see a whole dry spot there. It looks like a sprinkler not working. But I don't deal with the sprinklers. And this one, since it's just a front yard, I'll just leave the side door here open. Those Gorilla lifts that I put inside work really good there, because I can just kind of prop the door and it'll hold the door open, so I don't have to put it up and put the lock on to hold it. For one like this, Where are we at here? We just hit an hour on this stream. I can't believe there's not one person in the chat. We're even shocking. Usually there's at least a few comments already by now. Everybody's shy today. Everybody's shy. I'm actually surprised this lawn is green this much. This is one of the ones that I've been doing weekly through the whole summer. It hasn't been consistently even. It's been more spotty, but it's been like enough right down the middle or part of the lawn. It's growing a lot all summer. And every time I drove by on a day that I was skipping lawns, I was like, well, I can't skip that. Yeah, this whole front area was brown, but the rest of it was growing. Well, the one across the street, the guy's watering it right now. You can see how like brown that is across the street. So it's consistent at least, right? Should I do these stones? Yeah, I might as well. Usually alternate when I do them. They've been one of those areas, but it looks like maybe some sprinklers have been turned on. Maybe for the garden beds or something. And the water's leaching for this to be now getting rained up so much. Or all that rain that we had, you can see, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there's a slight like grade going this way. So maybe a lot of that water, like I said, it was like a month worth of rain in one day. They were saying broke some records for the amount of rain on that particular date for summer, very odd. So maybe a lot of that rain kind of settled here with the grade. Probably the reason. Like that. You guys have any questions about what I'm doing? Anything? Put it in the chat. Unless you're just going to put like a troll comment. Actually, you know what? Go ahead. Put a troll comment if you want. Tell me how I'm doing it wrong. These flower beds are completely overrun with weeds. It's interesting because I've seen on this house that she had another landscaping company, and they were just doing like the shrub trimming and cleaning the beds and stuff. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. Seems odd though, because they always seem taken care of before. I don't know too much. This is a client I haven't really spoken to. Literally outside of the first day I met her last season. Came and met with her and talked about and what she wanted, and that's it. Not seeing, I've seen her since, usually in the car, pulling out of the driveway or whatever, but I haven't chatted with her. So, and then this corner is still like this. I've been talking about this one for a couple weeks. The city came and did some stuff. It's been ongoing. So I don't know if this is finished. Hopefully it's not, because it looks horrible. They had it all dug up, and there was a bunch of gravel. And it was like that for almost the all of last year. And so I assumed that they had done something and they were leaving it like that and leaving it up to the homeowner, even though the boulevard is technically city property. But then they came back this year and had the hole dug up again. But then this time, when it finished, they actually put soil back. And I think it was grass seed. But then left it. But, like my client and stuff like that, didn't have the sprinklers set for that zone because it was just a big hole or gravel for all of last year. So I don't know if the city thought if it's finished and because it didn't get watered, all the seed died, and being the fact that they kind of wrapped this up, if it was wrapped up in the summer, or if they're coming back, I have no idea. Running light this morning, just with these 3 trimmer, blower, mower. Just the basic 3-piece set. After this one, I have one more push mow, and then I will head home and grab the Navigator and then do big properties in the afternoon. My door's open already. I'm sitting here trying to unlock the door, but the door's open. Let's see if we can put this on the tripod for a bit. Maybe like right there. See how much we can capture. Oh yeah, I should get the boulevard at least. Ooh. You might not see me in the back here in this section, but I will come back into frame pretty quick. Sun is trying to peek out, but he said it would be pretty overcast all day. The mower's on 1 bar right now. Mowing at 2 inches. Well, they were saying it's going to be a lot hotter than yesterday, even though it was overcast. But so far, it's actually quite nice. It's warm, but it's a slight little breeze. There's no direct sun pounding on your skin and head. One of the things I have to start thinking about, I think, for the future, with just temperatures seem to be on the rise every year, hotter summers and stuff that I never had to really deal with before. And I think my attire, clothing is going to have to change. It already has. I used to always wear shorts in the summer. About 3 years ago, I made the switch to just always being in work pants, just to keep my skin covered up. I did have some performance. I don't know if you guys remember, if you watch my content, I had some performance like shirts, long sleeve shirts made that have like UV blocking and stuff. I was using those. It was during the time where I was doing like intermittent fasting really heavily, and I had lost a ton of weight, lost like 60 pounds. So I had the shirts made at that time, and of course I stopped fasting and gained my 60 tires back, my 60 pounds back, got my spare tire back, burned off the old fat tire I've been lugging around for all these years, and grew myself a new spare tire. So at any rate, those shirts that I had made for me with the dye sublimation graphics and stuff, they don't fit me right now. So I went back to using my polo shirts, which probably isn't the greatest to have, the exposure to my arms. So I have to get back into fasting, what I need to do. I just felt so much better when I was fasting. Alright, let's see where we're at here and get a different angle. Are you guys even able to see me? Oh, yeah, you could have saw me on the driveway there. Let's go like that and see. So I am assuming that this live stream is working, that the audio is working, as nobody has mentioned anything in the chat. Live streaming has been a bit of an adventure. I have been enjoying consuming others' live streaming. seeing how others do live streaming. Not lawn care related, because most people, I think it was only one other person that I saw a lawn mowing live stream. It was in Australia. It's been interesting, kind of figuring out the ins and outs. Oh, there's the battery. So on that set of batteries, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 houses on that set. Whoa. Set of 12 amp hour Forge batteries. A couple of those houses I did mow them on the high speed mode, at least 2 of the houses, because they were thick and wet. So that did, in fact, because usually I can get about 7 houses done, but by mowing 2 of them on high, it kind of cut my overall by 1 house. If there's any questions or comments, but you guys are very quiet today. It's throwing me off. Yeah, still nothing. I was gonna say, you'll leave a question or comment. I can't see the phone at the moment, so I periodically check in. It's interesting too. So, I mean, like the challenges of live streaming. There seems to be no like rhyme or reason. There's some days where the chat is just popping off. People are asking questions, telling me where they're watching from, and then other times it's like, other times it's like today, there's nothing. And what's funny is that sometimes when the chat is popping off, it's one where I'm like doing this like really small one, where the whole live stream's only going to be like 20 minutes. And then days like this where you have lots of time to engage, it's over an hour long, and nobody is. Nobody's chatting. So it's kind of funny. Just one of the challenges with live streaming at least live streaming what I'm doing, which is lawn care, is that the intended target audience is, or at least with the channel that I've built, right, is other lawn care businesses. But if you're live streaming, those other businesses are hopefully all working at the same time. So I can understand why, unless they're in different time zones, different country. So lots of different challenges. That's why right now it's all very experimental for me. Trying live streaming. And we'll see if it's something I carry on. I started it last year, doing it last season. It's definitely made me a lot braver out in public. The cameras were all the time. And of course, I'm very control freak. It's like you always got to have everything under controlled. And when you're live streaming, that is not the case. You have no control over what's happening or what may potentially happen live. Right? People coming up to you, talking. You could have a customer potentially come out and argue or complain about something live, right? There's no hiding, right? And there's little context. So you might get people complaining, like, why are these garden beds? Or, what a terrible job you're doing. You're not even cleaning their garden beds. And it's like, well, I'm not contracted to do that. So there's a little context and you get sometimes. Just, hello, how are you? Get some comments sometimes that people don't think about the whole picture. Ooh. It's the second time I've done that. Having my shirt get tangled up in there. All right. Go off the sidewalk, and we'll be good to go. What I'll actually probably do next is go home, because I need to use the washroom. And then I can grab the navigator while I do that. And then I can hit the last push mow job for today on the way to the first big job, big property with the navigator. See the client, they were asking about that. Do you know anything about that whole construction thing going on? Because the city, they left debris everywhere. There's rocks and sand and gravel all along the curb. And normally, when they finish a construction project, like we see there, they would then sweep it all, with one of those road sweeper things. That's what's kind of leading me to believe that they're coming back. Just take a peek and make sure. Good there. Yeah, we're good there. And that's gonna wrap it up, I think. Ooh. All right. Flip you guys around. So that is it for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in to this live stream, checking it out. Fortunately, nobody was brave enough to enter anything into the chat this time, which is very odd, being an hour and 26 minutes in. So hopefully the live stream worked well and that the audio was clear at least, and that I provided you guys with at least some entertainment to pass the time, whatever you're doing. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the live stream. If you like these types of videos, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And let me know. Make sure that if this is something you want to catch on the go, again, it's not something I can predict when I'm going to do because conditions change, cell signals different from house to house, all that sort of stuff. So it's always going to be impromptu when I do a live stream for lawn mowing. So if you want to, be notified of it, then make sure you hit that notification bell because then YouTube will let you know as soon as I go live. At any rate, thanks for joining me this week, guys, on this particular one. This is probably the last live stream for this week, and we'll catch you guys next week. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching.